Welcome to the Hope College Athletics Orange and Blue podcast, the 2023 summer season. As we take a breath from competition, and then we want to take some time to highlight some of our exceptional student athletes and coaches and staff here that make Hope Athletics a special place. And one of the spotlights we wanted to do this year is on our Be Strong, Be True Athletes of the Year. And we are going to be talking with Delaney Weselick, our female recipient. But today we're going to talk with Dan Romano, Hope college football player, a medical, mechanical engineering major, and an exceptional running back. It's been my pleasure to watch him play for the Flying Dutchmen, as well as be a student athlete here, and join us today as well as head football coach Peter Stuursma. Welcome to you both, Dan and Coach.
Thank you very much, Alan.
Thank you.
The Be Strong, Be True Athlete of the Year's award we give out every year at the Hopies, and it demonstrates the true essence of being a student athlete and embodies the Division III motto of discover, develop, and dedicate. You got to be in high academic standing, play a significant role on the team, and be involved with Hope and the greater Holland community as well. And Dan has been an exceptional representative of that. Coach Stuursma, can you talk about Dan and the impact that he's had on this program and this campus since he's been here at Hope College?
Absolutely, Alan, and thanks for allowing me the opportunity. I mean, we really probably could do this interview in 3 hours and cover all the things that Dan Romano stands for. But, it really starts with, I'll go back to, we were fortunate to be able to recruit his brother Joe here, and, did a great job for us. He grew in the program, grew in physically, and just was an outstanding member of our program. And when Dan came along, he just was the guy that did things in his freshman year that were unheralded, that no one talked about. I mean, at one point he lined up at offensive line, and, he was a skill guy. He just did whatever was needed for the team. And when you meet his mom and dad, you really realize why those two young men that we've been fortunate to have in our program are the way they are. I mean, his mom and dad are unbelievable people, unbelievable human beings. And Dan and Joe are both so humble. And to really focus on Dan, he epitomizes what this award is about. He's a student athlete first and foremost. I always joke with him that it's like, how's your midterms? And he just says, fine. And I know he's a 4-point. He's already, he does the work. He does the things. And what I want to really highlight about that is he's nonchalant about it because he's very humble. But I want you to know he works extremely hard to do the things and accomplish the things that he does. I think it would be unfair to say, oh, Dan Romano just has all these awards and all these accolades. It doesn't give enough credit to the fact he really works extremely hard to be who he is, both on and off of the field. He is who he is. He lives by a certain set of standards and expectation, and he holds himself to a higher level of expectations than any one of us can as a coach, as administration, as a school institution. He holds himself to that standard. The way he takes care of his body, the way he takes care of his friends, the way he takes care of his faith, the way he takes care of just the things around him. And he does it in Dan Romano's way. He doesn't do it because it's flashy. He doesn't do it because someone told him that's a better fit to do it that way. He does it his way, and it's 99.9% of the time the right way because that's Dan Romano's expectations. And I'm not surprised that he had the career that he had. And I say that because, again, I don't want to take away from what he does, but I'm not surprised because that's just who he is. It's the way he goes about his business. Dan Romano would score 3 touchdowns and rush for 230 yards and go, oh, geez, golly gee willikers, those offensive line did a great job. Deep down, he has great respect for his teammates. He has, I think, great respect for the game. He has great respect for the journey, the work that it takes to play the game at a high level. And when you have a young man like that, it's what this award is about. It's what Hope College is about. It's what, and I don't want it to, he will also tell you he's not Superman. I mean, he injured his shoulder and had to have surgery, and he had to go through a grind to get himself back to even playing his senior year to be able to carry the ball like he did. It's not easy, but there's not enough accolades. There's not enough adjectives. There's not enough time on this Zoom to be able to talk about what Dan Romano has meant to this institution, to this program, to our players, to our coaching staff, and to me personally.
For you, Dan, I know you weren't setting out to be honored like this, or knowing you and having interviewed you, even looking for accolades. But what does this "Be Strong, Be True" athlete the honor mean to you?
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you for allowing me to be on the podcast, and Coach, thank you for all those kind of words. That was just very, very nice to hear. But yeah, I really wasn't expecting to win that award, and so when I heard my name called, I was pretty surprised. I was going up against like 3 other like really top-notch guys, and it seemed like their list of who they were and what they did was a lot longer. So it's like, it was just an honor to be nominated. So, but yeah, when I got my name called, I was just very, very surprised, but just very blessed to win it. And I think it was just very special knowing that like everything that I had done throughout my time at Hope had just kind of been recognized in that way. And so it was just a very special award to win.
Looking over your list of activities, in addition to football, a challenging major in engineering, you were also a member of ATSAC here, the Athletes Coming Together and Student Advisory Council on Hope. You also served in that role on the MIAA. You took part in a seed trip. You've been a co-leader for football Bible study. You've packed a lot in. Why was that important to you, to not just be defined by your studies or just your sport, or what else? Why doing a lot in your time here at Hope was a priority for you?
Right. I think part of it was it was hard for me to say no. And I saw everything as just like an opportunity to grow, to meet people, to become the better version of myself. And so I did find myself like just saying yes a lot and taking advantage of every opportunity that I could. And that just led me down a road to, one, being busy, but also just really growing in every aspect of my life, whether it was football, academics, or my faith with the Bible study, or being a leader on ACSAC and or a rep in the MIAA. And they were all just like really cool opportunities I didn't want to pass up on. So I just decided I didn't see it as like a burden to myself, although sometimes I would get a little busy. I saw it more as like, I'm saying yes to this and I want to excel in it and be the best that I can be in it.
What did you learn about time management? Is that something that you had a pretty good grasp on when you started college, or how did that, because that's a key process, talking to all the students, athletes I do, just depending even when you're out of season or in season, that's key. And what advice would you give to a freshman that's coming to campus this fall so that they can have a similar experience? It seems a rewarding experience that you had.
Yeah. I think I had a decent grasp on time management coming into college as a 4-sport athlete in high school, and did some other extracurriculars too. But I guess college is just like a different level, especially with playing football and everything. But I think my main time management skills came from knowing I had a certain amount of time to get the work done that I needed to. I'd have classes from all day from like 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., then go straight to practice, and then go straight to dinner. And then I'd have, from dinner time until basically I went to bed to do my homework and then do it all over again the next day. So I think it was just a matter of knowing, okay, this is how much time I have. This is what I need to get done. And just like keeping up in my classes, understanding like what the homework was, how much time I needed to do it. If I needed to reach out for help, go to office hours. It's just kind of getting an understanding of the difficulty of my classes, what I need to do to, stay successful or stay up to date with them. But I think just knowing, this is how much time I have to get my homework done, that kind of helped me just guide the way for the rest of the week, and just knowing how to stay successful.
Peter, from your eyes, what did you see from Dan as a student athlete that allowed him to not only do a lot, but do it at a very high level?
Yeah, in fact, Dan and I used to joke, like, it's okay to to just relax a little bit here in the end. And yet that's just not the way he's wired to relax. But in a lot of ways, I do think he really, he is very humble. He is very appreciative and grateful for the gifts and the things that he has. But I think as he's gotten older, I think he realizes that he worked really, really hard to be in this position. And I'm hopeful that he will acknowledge that because, I think this seeing him balance all of those things, it's hard. There's no question about it. I also believe this in my heart that when you're involved in athletics, it tends to structure you a little bit more. He's a structured human being to begin with, but then you add in playing high level of football with working out and doing those things because he has a set standard of expectation for himself. I think that the sport of football, because we're pretty structured from August, 9th through whenever we're done. I think that also helps him say, okay, well, I know that from this time I have this. So it allows him to focus on the other time that he knows he has to use. And he's a funny kid. He's a great friend to a lot of our guys. He does have fun. It's not like he's just all business all the time. But because he's so involved in so many things, it appears that way. And I love what he says. He goes, I don't say no very often. I think people want to be around him. They resonate with that. And there's a topic that always comes up, I think is one of the most fascinating, debatable topics. And that's leadership. Is Dan's not a rah-rah guy. Dan's not the guy that's going to be the voice out there in front of everybody. But I think in a very important piece of leadership, in my opinion, is how do people view you? And I think a lot of people view him and have great respect for him, for the human being that he is and the way he conducts his business. And that to me is one of the ultimate compliments is that, there's a lot of guys in our team that when I ask our guys, when I do exit interviews, I ask her, like, hey, who really helped you? A lot of guys will say Dan Romano. And Dan Romano doesn't even know sometimes when he does it. But sitting with somebody, asking if they need help, he would help our guys with professors to take at certain times and what to take in the fall and what to take in the spring based on balancing the schedules. Those little things go a long way. And sometimes they're not put on a scoreboard. They're not highlighted in an interview like this. But his impact on many others is inspiring. And that's also a huge part of leadership.
Dan, I know there are different levels of leaders depending on the organization and what's involved. For you, it seems like you impacted whether or not, maybe from when you were a freshman, by how you treated your teammates. What in your mind makes a good teammate, and how did you try to be one?
Sure. Well, I guess like on the topic of leadership too, like I was never a captain or a council group leader. I was just, I felt like I was just a running back, it felt like, especially last year, and then this season, I was being an upperclassman. I was trying to find my role as like, okay, how can I be that leader that I know I should be, without being a council group leader, without being a captain. And I think I've always taken the role as just like leading by example, because like Coach said, like I'm not like the hype up guy. Like I'm not the one to go like screaming around the field trying to hype everyone up or get people going. It's like I would like, if I tried to do that, I don't think I'd get the response that I would want, because people know that's just not who I am. So, but I think what makes a great teammate is just knowing your role, and then just being an encouraging, positive guy for others to go to. Even if we were like losing or we were down or we needed, something to get going, it's like, okay, I know my role. If I can do my role to the standard that I know I can do it, then I think that'll encourage guys to step up as well. And so I saw this season, especially just, I wanted to be a great teammate, especially to the young guys, to the younger running backs, just always asking them how they were doing or what I could do for them, and just trying to build a relationship that was deeper than football. And I think that goes a long way too. And so I think that is another aspect of what makes a great teammate.
What was it about? When did you first pick up a football? When did it become your game? I know you were a multi-sport athlete. But I imagine, has football been as long as you can remember?
I think so. I think I started playing in, third or fourth grade. We had like our grade school team. So I went to Shrine Catholic schools, like kindergarten through 12th grade. And so I think I started around third or fourth grade. And then I don't think I knew I was like kind of good at it. And so like, that's why I stuck around with it. And then I didn't realize I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of good at this until like maybe sixth or seventh grade. And then I was like, yeah, this is definitely the sport that I want to keep going with.
What is playing for football for Hope College meant to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. I never really thought about playing football in college up until I saw my brother do it. And then I didn't even know of Hope College until my brother went here too. So, one, to be able to play with him my freshman year when he was a senior was really special. And then to kind of just play into this culture and kind of just build like not just like a winning culture, but just a football culture that's around being supportive and just being one team was super special. And I think I really love what Hope stands for, and I really love what Hope College football stands for. And so just to play on this program was just really special to me.
Coach, and Dan would be remiss, but this is a running back that had two 200-yard games in his career. It's hard enough for a running back to get one, then to do it during two different seasons versus trying this year and then Adrian a couple years ago. What made Dan such a good running back for the Flying Dutchmen?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think what people don't know and realize is the challenge that Dan had after his junior year. He had arguably his finest season as any running back, all league and things like that. And to have, and by the way, towards the end of the season, his junior year, I mean, you looked at him, he had a brace on this shoulder, he had tape all over. And, in practice, we really tried to just get him some warm-up reps, if you will, to get him through. Because his running style is a punishing running style. It's pretty old school, but the Earl Campbells of the day, and he would just punish you when he hit you. And because of that, his body broke down a little bit. And he's as strong and is conscious about his fitness as any guy I've been around at that level, to play the position. But his body broke down, I don't think people realize the challenge he went through in this post-season surgery. And I remember when he had his surgery and we were talking, he said, Dan, there's only one person I'm worried about of you getting back, and that's you, because he's so driven that I didn't want him to go too fast. Like I wanted him to give his body time to heal because he doesn't know any way to do things other than the throttle right to the floor when it comes to working out. And so we were really challenged about, hey, just go, be patient. And I don't want to fast forward to the last game of the season. And you asked him, I'm going to get to your hand to answer your question. What makes him good? Well, the last game of the season this year down at Trine, 224 yards or something. Mm-hmm. He has great patience. He has great vision. I think it just was kind of one of those things. I think Dan just said, hey, this is my last ride and I'm going to make it count. And he did that. And the punishing style, after a certain period of time, you're like, dang, I don't want to hit that dude anymore because he just keeps coming at you. He just doesn't have that ability to quit. And that's going to carry him a long way. That has carried him a long way in what he's done. That's that work ethic piece. But there's just that innate ability to compete that's going to come into play when he goes through things in life that are going to be challenging, whether it's work, family. There's going to be things that are going to happen. And this is not a glass is half empty. This is a glass is half full comment when I say this is he's going to take those challenges on just like he did going into his senior year and just like he finished for us. Just being that teammate that really like 224 yards and a few touchdowns and he's given his linemen the credit. Why do you think those linemen really like blocking for him? Why do you think the H-backs really like blocking for him? Why do you think the quarterbacks really like giving the ball to a guy like that? And all I could say this about all of our guys, but Dan's definitely the leader from a example standpoint of that group, and he just he's just a gem to coach. I mean, like I always say, like, I'm the dumbest coach I know, but when you have guys like that, like, just get out of the way. Get out of the way and give them the opportunities, as many that you can. And hey, there are times when he probably wanted more, and there are times he maybe wanted less. It all evens out at the end. And I don't think he has any regrets, because I know we don't, because it's been an absolute pleasure to be around the young man that he is.
Dan, adversity is a part of sport. Obviously, we enjoy the winning and the highs, but there can be lows too. And I can imagine there even had times of doubt when you were recovering from your injury, whether or not you'd be able to even get back on the field. What kept you from, being discouraged and like, maybe, maybe I'm just not meant to play anymore, to come back? How did you get through that? Because that had to be mentally maybe as challenging as anything athletically related you've had in your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely a big challenge. The normal recovery time for the surgery that I had was about 6 to 8 months. And I got my surgery in like the middle of March. And so, if I was doing the normal recovery time, it would be past when football had already be started. And so not only did I want to recover faster than that, but I also needed to, work out like I normally do, and get the conditioning down so I could be, I saw myself as like, I need to get like in football shape so I can, play in that first game and just like ball out. And so that was like my challenge in my head, that I was like, okay, I need to be fully recovered. I need to cut that time in half, and just kind of work out like crazy. And, I did cut my recovery time in half pretty much. And then I was at the point in the summer where I think I had like a month and a half left where I could lift normally and I could sprint and do all those things to really like get prepared for the season. And so I think and then when I got to camp, and kind of just being more of like, let's, go slowly with it and like work your way into actually hitting again. And then, the start of the season, I didn't play as much. I was running a little more timid, but I wanted to get my shoulder used to like getting those hits and everything. And I think it was just the challenge one of the biggest challenges was trying to understand, where I thought my body was versus where it may have actually been versus where, the coaches thought it was. And I think the whole start to the season and the middle of the season when we were losing, all of that was just facing a lot of adversity, especially for me, because it's like, gosh, this is not what I thought my senior season was going to be like. And so deep down, I was thinking of, okay, how can I just enjoy this? Because, this is the last time playing. And that's when I kind of decided to just, if I'm not going to be, like the starter in games or really playing in games, or if I'm not, a captain or a leader, it's like, okay, what can I do to still enjoy this? And that's when I decided to, like, I'm really going to try to be a great teammate, and just keep leading by example. I'm going to keep going hard in practice because that's what I've always known. And that's what, my teammates deserve from me. And, I'm just going to keep pouring into the young guys and being a great teammate to them. And so instead of, it was frustrating, but instead of letting that frustration, get the better of me, I just decided, I'm just going to be a great teammate because this is what my team deserves. And I think doing that the whole season kind of just led up to what happened at Trine. And I think, what happened at Trine, rushing for the 224 yards and a touchdown is just a really special way to kind of end my time with Hope football, and just be like a good capstone to my career here and stuff. So I guess in terms of just facing adversity, it was really challenging, but instead of letting the adversity, overcome me, I just thought of how can I be creative or think of different ways to fight against it and still enjoy my time.
How did your faith help you kind of get that through too. I mean, that's no matter where you go in life,
Mhm.
you know, there are going to be challenges like that that you have to face. Well, talk about your faith and how that, you know, kind of helped keep you on an even keel during a time that might have been a little rocky.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, my faith played a huge role, and um, I think what happened after my junior season with playing really well and getting, some awards and recognition, and I thought, wow, like if I could do that with kind of being injured throughout the whole season, then what could I do my senior season if I were healthy? And I kind of just put like my identity and my performance in football, which is not the best thing to do. Um, and instead of, so I guess I think what God was calling me to do is to put my identity back in Him. And so I do think that part of, the reason of my shoulder and just, maybe not playing throughout like the beginning of like my senior season was just God calling me back to Him and putting my identity in Him instead. And so, um, having having a strong faith and just really relying on my prayer and like the Bible study that I was helping lead, and really just putting my focus back on my faith rather than my focus, solely on football, kind of just helped me understand and realize that like football is just a blessing that I've been able to play. And when I put, who I am into that instead of into God and into Jesus, then that's when things just like start to not go right. And I think I noticed that, just putting my identity back in God really helped me gain a better understanding of, what was really going on with my football season. And I think after I did that, and it was kind of like the same time around our last game at Trine, where it's like, if I play, I'm just gonna ball out. I want to play loose, and like that's kind of what happened. And I wasn't really looking for, like, I knew I wasn't gonna get really any awards for the season, and I didn't really care. I just wanted to go out and do the best that I could do, and it turned out to, you know, turned into like a good note for like the end of the season. So
Pete, I know one of the things we really work on here at Hope is with transforming lives. And it seems like that was a moment that transformed Dan, even though he had a lot coming to Hope as a student, as a young man, as a person of faith. When you hear his story about that, what does that mean to you to see his life transform in a way maybe he didn't even expect when he came here to Hope?
Yeah, well, so much of that credit goes to Dan himself, his family, his upbringing, and really, as you go from an 18-year-old kid when we recruit you to a 22-year-old young man, like I would love to, I would love to say that that's all because of us. It's not all because of us. We're just a piece of the puzzle, and it's a tremendous honor to be a part of his journey. And I always say it's a small piece of his puzzle because he's really the one that deserves the credit and the accolades that he has for his puzzle, for his journey, and the fact that he can acknowledge things that don't go well, and that he just keeps coming out of the backside of things. And a huge compliment to him is Dan. Our first week of fall camp, we would always on Sunday go to a local church, and we've changed it up from time to time. And Dan was always the guy in the last few years that would get a number of the Catholic student athletes to go to Mass on that day. Well, fast forward to this year when I'm doing exit interviews, and one of the young men on our team said, "Hey, can I be the Dan Romano of that and make sure I organize the guys to go to Mass for the Catholic students?" And I'm like, there it is, right? Like that there it is. He wants to be the Dan Romano that organizes that Sunday deal. And it's not just a little thing. That's I want to be the Dan Romano that does that. Like that's Dan, and so, yeah, I know that we continue to try to do and really strive to be that transformational experience. And we're going to continue to do that. And yet I think as the head football coach here, I also want to give credit to the young men who put themselves through a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort. We push them. We expect a lot out of them. We expect a lot of them in the classroom, and it doesn't always. It's not let's be honest, like it's not perfect. It's not a perfect world. But yet it's guys like this that you really like. I mean, like I get to coach guys like this, right? Like I get to coach guys that are on our team. I brag about these guys all the time. We're like, what's your team like? I'm like, come and meet our dudes. They're unbelievable. And this is a shining example of it. And Dan will be the first to tell you, like he's honored to be on this, but he's also like, gosh, there's a lot of other guys that deserve this too. And yet we're like, well, yeah, but Dan, you're the winner, so we're going to honor you. And you know what I mean? Like these are the guys that we get to coach. And so not surprised one bit when he's able to share his story, his journey. That's why, and you're just going to watch this dude continue to go. Like, I dare you bet against Dan Romano. I dare you. It's not going to go well for you.
Well, he's certainly packing a lot into this month as well, even though he's done with college, just graduated, getting married here on May 19th. And then he's also will be starting a job at Gentex here in Zeeland. Dan, talk about your journey to Gentex and what is it about engineering that is a passion for you and the start of your career?
Yeah. So I've always been just like an engineering at mind and at heart. You know, I grew up with my brother building Legos and playing with Legos and just always wanted to be creative in that way. And I think I took, you know, engineering classes in high school, and then going into college, I wanted to also focus, like I also have an interest in just like how the body works. I think that grew from just all the injuries I've had over the years playing sports and everything. And that's what drew me to being like a biomedical mechanical engineering major. Because I kind of just put two interests into one. And I think, you know, my job search this past semester had been a little frustrating. It's just been up and down. You know, I had promising opportunities earlier in the semester, just like kind of fall through. And I really just didn't know like where God was calling me to go. And all of a sudden, this job posting came through my email for Gentex, and I decided to apply. And then I got scheduled for like a 3-hour interview there, and it went like really well, and I'm really happy about it. And then like the next day, they pretty much offered me the job. And so I'm just really excited. It'll be a great opportunity to just get into right after college. It'll be great to just build the skills there and really see how far I can go there. So yeah, I'm just excited to continue my engineering journey and career at Gentex there.
How is the Hope College Engineering Department? How did they help you get to where you are now?
A lot of the classes were really tough. But what was great about the engineering department is just the professors are so helpful. And I think that goes for, you know, all of Hope College, really. The professors were just able to, you know, always be available to you when you need them to, whether it's their office hours or if you just send them an email at like midnight and they still respond to you. They were just really great in helping us to learn and knowing what we needed so that we could learn best and really grow. And so even though we had like really difficult classes, I think it was really the professors that helped us just get to where we all are today and just being ready for industry or for, you know, going on to grad school. They just did a great job in helping prepare us for what's next.
And I know we could probably go on for an hour with the number of people you want to thank, but is there anyone specific you want to thank, whether family or here at Hope, just for helping, you know, help you get to where you are today?
Yeah. I'd say definitely my parents. They're the most supportive people I know. They wouldn't have missed a football game for the world. They wouldn't have missed any like engineering thing I had. They have come to everything for like my whole life, which has been such a blessing. And I know, you know, some of my friends don't have parents that are like that. And so I've just been so blessed to have parents that will drive out here for just a day trip just to see me do something for like an hour, or, you know, come to every like one of our football games, even if they're like 9 hours away, they'll still be there and stuff. So they've been like super supportive. And then I'd also like to thank, my fiance, Hannah. She has just been such an amazing person to be with the past couple of years. And she has also just been so supportive, especially during football when, things get busy. It's just, it's so nice to have her just always there and understanding, what I'm going through and stuff. And so she has just been really great. And so I can't wait to marry her in 11 days and start our life together. So.
And I'll close out on this. I got to ask you, Dan, it made you think of the first play that comes to mind in a Hope uniform. What jumps out to you for you, a favorite play?
Favorite play. I would say it'd be our Adrian game last, my junior season, where it was at the end of the game and I rushed into the south end zone, and I had some of my high school friends. They were sitting like right at the end zone, and so it was really cool because as I was running into the end zone, they were like right there and stuff, and I got to give them like a high five, and they were celebrating in the end zone with me. So that was a lot of fun. I'd say that was my favorite play.
And Coach, I would say you have said several times to me that every play that's called is designed for a touchdown. Take me through Dan's touchdown at Trine, and kind of what you guys were looking to get on that play, and what was the call to spring him free for that touchdown to help Cap you guys get a big win to close on a 3-game winning streak, and then he get a memorable finish to his college career.
Well, I don't know that that's the most memorable one. I'll just tell you this. I use this all the time as an example for our O linemen and our H-backs is, this year Lou Beckler went through some pretty challenging injuries as well. And his final game, Dan's final game, our right tackle takes their all-league player and almost moves him to the sidelines. Lou Beckler comes around and smashes a linebacker. And Dan Romano has the gas on loud and doesn't even cut and just goes right down, with his shoulder pad square. And I remember saying on the headset, like, "Ooh, that was pretty good." And I actually think that was one that he got caught on. But that to me, that was like the symbol of kind of the way our season went. Dan talked about a frustrating time we had in the middle of the season, and 6 games into this season, we had rushed for half of what we had rushed through a year ago at the same time. And I use that play as an example of, when everybody does their job, everybody has a job to do in that play. That play is a thing of beauty. And so I'm just going to focus on that play because it was fun to watch. It's fun to watch when the white jerseys are moving the Navy jerseys out of the way and Dan Romano's coming downhill. Because that guy at the end of that deal is going, not so sure I want to hit that big rascal coming at me at 219 pounds of stud. I'm not so sure he's going to do that, but that's that kind of symbolic of what Dan Romano's meant to this program to us.
Well, thank you, Coach, and thank you, Dan. It's been a pleasure to talk with you here today and also watch you play, Dan, and wish you well and your wife moving forward here very soon. And this will be episode 1 here for the Hope Athletics Orange and Blue podcast. Stay tuned. In about 2 weeks, we'll have another one with our conversation with Hope Athletics student athletes and coaches. So thanks for joining us today. Subscribe if you aren't to the Orange and Blue podcast and share it with your friends. We got some great Hope stories. Thanks for listening, everyone.